Baby Beard Media. Shut up and take my podcast.
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 Stereotypes.
The foreigner. My customs are different.
Upwards inflections. Australian.
Your beer belly is so big, your door doesn't even close, and that doesn't even make sense.
What sentence ends well with, I got advice from Nixon.
We're a G-rated.
This is a proper... Are we? Futurama podcast.
Trademark. License. Copyright. Don't say those words.
Shut up and take my podcast. That was pretty bad, but I tried to give it a bit more differentiation in the words.
Just look up Pierce Brosnan, Maybe You Shouldn't Be Living Here, and that very obscure reference will make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Welcome everyone to Shut Up and Take My Podcast. I am Sean. I'm joined here by James.
Hello.
And Phil.
Hello.
Welcome everybody. God damn, it's been like a month since we were last here. Like peeling back the curtain a bit too much. We don't
Hey, they don't know
record
that.
and then...
No. It's every week.
Bring it. Oh,
Every
sorry.
week we sit down every week. The Adelaide Fringe has not happened. We're not in Adelaide. Jesus, I'm revealing.
This is
so
live.
much. Yes,
Yes,
totally
Live podcast.
live on SoundCloud whenever you want it to be.
This week, we're up to episode 2. Oh, God damn. It's getting worse and worse. I'm getting so slack. So this is the Futurama podcast where we look at every single episode
Yes.
of Futurama from the beginning all the way to the end until it completely finishes in a fiery grave.
All we do.
Exactly. Whichever one comes first.
Or they make more episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You never know.
And we are up to season 2, episode 8, Raging Bender. What does that mean?
Raging Bull.
Or...
Oh my god, I did not get that reference.
What?
What? No, I did. I just for the record, I did get that reference.
It's got 3 meanings.
Oh, do tell us.
Yes, well, Raging Bull, a
Yes.
play on a raging boner,
Yes.
and going on a raging bender.
Well, yeah.
So,
Okay.
you know,
I had
very smart, kind of double, triple entendres.
So many layers.
So now that just makes me wonder whether the phrase "raging boner" itself has grown out of the
Raging bender.
raging bull, the
Raging bull.
the famousness. That's a
Can
word.
we
of
look
that
up the
film.
history of a raging boner?
Yeah, maybe that's not. Is that a tangent we want to go on?
It's like I was googling raging boner. It was just porn. It was just porn. It was
Just
strange.
get the
It was an
listeners to look it up.
afternoon. Yeah.
Listeners control through that and keep safe
Tell
mode on
us.
Google.
Email us your raging boner.
Tiki Tom has got... Is that a raging boner on your phone? He
Maybe.
shrugged. This episode was directed by Directing Unit 17. And written... No. The director is Ron Hughart. So
Ron Hughart.
No, it's not Hughart. So he's back from Fry and the Slurm Factory. He's credited by a lot of the writers and the people of Futurama as providing some of the best violent scenes in Futurama. So a lot of the real violent scenes comes from Ron. So, which Bender gets his teeth knocked in,
especially,
a la Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, this whole episode is about violence.
Yes.
So maybe they're like, hey, do you want to take this one?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, sure.
Writer is Lewis Morton, back from Brannigan Begin Again. Air date, February 27th, 2000. Introducing Abner Double Deal, who is the commissioner of the Ultimate Robot Fighting League.
Does he come back? Is he?
Yeah, he's also the commissioner of Blurnsball.
And Brain Slugs, they've been in the show before?
Brain Slugs have been in once because they were one of the parties in a head in the polls.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
the
Brain
Brain
Slug
brain
party.
slug party.
Because that's the first time Hermes
Yeah.
gets it on his head.
I just love the brain slugs.
They are great, yeah.
And we also get a weird cameo in Rich Little. So Rich Little was a prolific impersonator. So he was called the man of 1,000 voices, basically. So he was impersonating a guy called Howard Cosell. So Howard Cosell was a sports journalist.
Howard Cosell.
So what they were going to do originally, the writer said, hey, let's just get in a voice actor to impersonate Howard Cosell. Then they thought, no, why don't we just get Rich Little to impersonate Howard Cosell, but in the episode we'll call him Rich Little impersonating Howard Cosell. It's a joke for the writers, basically.
Yeah.
And is that a George Foreman impersonator, or is that George Foreman?
That is not George Foreman.
Okay, I thought so, because I was like, would George Foreman actually play someone who's that brain damaged?
Well, Mike Tyson does all the time. Have you seen the Mike Tyson animated series?
Yeah, that is great.
It's basically like a parody of the old Scooby-Doo mysteries, but it's Mike Tyson with a little girl and
There's like a pigeon and a ghost.
a pigeon and a ghost, and they solve
Yeah,
mysteries.
but
How
the
have I
mysteries,
missed
the
this?
mysteries are like, my husband's been murdered, and they're like they're actual crimes.
Yeah.
My husband's ear is missing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have anything to do with that.
Maybe don't lean on the mic stand. We don't have clamps. I can't.
Clamps! We do now.
Do we want to run through? Do you want to run through the plot? The plot of this episode.
Who do you know?
They go to the movies, the Futurama crew. Bender picks a fight with a guy in front of him, paying out his date, who happens to be the masked unit, famed...
His date is the mask unit?
Well, no, like, he was picking on...
You saw the
masked
episode.
unit's
No,
date.
I know, but I'm clarifying for people who listen to this without watching.
Okay, he's picking on people in front of him. There's a guy and a girl robot, and one of them happens to be the masked unit. They fight. Accidentally, he gets knocked out. He's claimed to be the winner, I guess. Yeah, does he die? Did the masked unit die?
He's not seen again.
He's not seen again. Okay, so the masked unit fell on some oiled up popcorn and died. And then Bender gets thrown into basically wrestling.
The Ultimate Robot Fighting League.
That was a long plot synopsis.
Yeah, I was all over the place with that.
So, I mean, look, very clearly, this is an episode about wrestling, pro wrestling, which is where I get to let my nerd colours fly because this is totally in my wheelhouse.
So you like that.
Let's stop him talking as much as possible.
No, it's not going to happen.
Stop the wrestling aspect from that.
What do we think, guys? Opening thoughts.
It's a pretty fun episode. Yeah.
It's where half the episodes start an octave higher than our original range.
Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. It's all right. But it's half high, half low.
It's a Bender episode.
Bender-centric.
Bender's good.
Yeah.
Oh, but we get some Leela backstory, like a little bit in there.
Yeah,
She
and
really
then we make a joke about.
Yeah.
Oh no, not the orphanarium again.
Not the orphanarium again. That's my Zoidberg.
Yeah, when Zoidberg is the one who is good one. When Zoidberg is the one who's like, crap, you know you're in trouble.
Zoidberg plays straight man in this episode. For some weird reason, like we have the gag when Farnsworth puts on the extra big glasses
and
puts it through. So he has a program and he puts on his reading glasses. His glasses go through the paper and he's going, "Oh, Zoidberg, there's a lovely photo of you here." Zoidberg gives him a look like, "You idiot."
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing?
Why is Zoidberg the
straight man?
Put Amy next to her because you can't have Hermes because Hermes is brain slug.
Did Amy do anything in this episode?
Amy,
she stops Hermes putting a brain slug on a child at one point,
but she doesn't say anything.
No.
So maybe she just wasn't available.
Yeah, because that's
possibly.
Yeah. I mean, this is interesting because we have the brain slugs in here as a little bit of a side plot. So Hermes Conrad has a green brain slug on his head from the brain slug planet. I think that's what it's called.
I believe it's called the brain slug planet.
What's great is that this was a little storyline that was going to... What was meant to happen is he was meant to have the brain slug on his head for the rest of the season. Oh, really? And then they realised that's not as funny to have monotone Hermes. Yeah. Or they just kind of forgot about it. Yeah, it was just going to be on it and never addressed for the rest of the season. It was also going to be more prolific in the season previous, so they were just going to have the slugs as little background Easter eggs. So you just have slugs on ceilings in the walls somewhere. So the idea is they eventually just drop on you. They were going to increase brain power. Was the initial idea. But a lot of these just kind of fell on the cutting room floor and really didn't get addressed again until they just decided, let's chuck it on a Hermes.
Yeah, let's just throw a brain slug running gag through the show. Which is nice. It's nice to have a little gag like that underpins and keeps...
And he's like, I'm free! Finally, that puts it back on. Thank you. It was cold down there.
Yeah.
We have the introduction of the second alien language. So we talked about this earlier.
Right. Is that coming in this episode?
Yeah. So I am actually jumping ahead. That's next week. Oops.
We'll get it in post.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. We won't.
We won't cut it out.
That pause will be in this. Here.
This episode starts with "Good news, everyone," which always makes me really happy when that is the opening line of an episode, and also that opening visual gag doesn't tie into anything but brilliant. The toaster has sentience. Is that what he says?
Yeah. I've taught the toaster to love again.
Yeah. Yes, that's the one.
It very much starts that they start to double down on the quintessential Futurama opening, which is them around the table or them in their Planet Express home with the good news, everyone, with some random invention. Or some random mission that they've just finished. So they're really starting to get cozy in their setting.
Yeah, I like hooks like that kind of reward familiarity, that reward you for coming back and loving the show, where you just get this kind of nice welcomed feeling when you start an episode. You spot those little things that kind of for you.
James, what were you? So you're not as much of a fan of this episode, or it's okay?
No, I really liked it. Like, I like when they go to the movies and they get basically like an interactive film, yet there's no choice.
All My Circuit's the movie.
Like, I'm wondering, like, was that like a gag that like the cinemas put out, where it's like they made the film. The film is what it is. Like, they never actually implemented different scenes. They never shot any different scenes.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I've got a choice. I want to do this cool thing. No,
we didn't.
You're not doing this cool thing. You're not going to a gunfight at the special effects factory.
Yeah, we just get Calculon playing himself.
This is what I find interesting is what I could have... I love that All My Circuits, which is a soap opera, a shitty soap opera, has manifested itself into an action-adventure film.
Yes, with lasers.
Like James Bond.
James Bond,
when did that change happen?
Directed by Directing Unit.
Yeah.
Original characters made by Original Character Unit 25.
Or Writing Unit 17-9 and John Esteres, or whatever it is.
That would be a fun writer's room, I have to say.
But I did like that whole part of the episode, and like they're playing that old it's kind of like an ad / propaganda.
I love that bit too.
It's still like it's being projected on film, like it's like jittering and
grain
black and white,
the whole This Week in the News sort of
basically, and then like they go to that planet where it's like
protozoas,
and it's like Miss Universe is there, and it's like go get them, boys, but it's like they're preparing to destroy humanity.
And we bring back Miss Universe, got a bit of continuity coming back from
that was nice.
The Miss Universe episode,
the one with like the other Bender.
Yeah, Bender and
Fender.
Flexo.
I was going to say we just did this episode.
Who's Fender? Is Fender someone? Fender's someone.
Yeah. Bender, meet Fender. No, Bender, this is Fender. Fender. Hell is Other Robots. Where he jacks on.
No, but his alternate is
Flexo.
Yeah.
This is my favourite bit of the episode, is how they handle the idea of pro wrestling, because the title of it is clearly UFC, Ultimate Fighting, but the style and what they're parodying and what they're riffing on is professional wrestling in general. All the characters are parodies of existing wrestlers. So the gender bender is Gorgeous George, who was basically in the golden era of professional wrestling from the 40s and 50s. There was no gimmicks, there was no theatrics, it was basically glorified amateur wrestling with scripts.
Yeah.
So you just have the big bruiser bodies who would go around, and it was very much a regional territory, carny type thing, where Gorgeous George was the first person to kind of look at this sport, quote unquote, and say, let's make characters out of this and let's make people hate me. So the way I'll do that is I'll wear robes, I'll act flamboyant, I'll call myself Gorgeous George, I'll dye my hair platinum blonde. People hated it.
He's the first heel, right?
He's the first heel. He was challenging your sexuality.
Yeah.
And everyone despised him so much, but he played it up and he loved it. So it brought up this idea of characters. So you don't have to be the best athlete or the best wrestler at all. You just need to create this character and have eccentricities and theatrical ability.
And they go to a really fun place with it in this episode as well, where all the kind of heels that he has to beat because Pender's really popular are like really on the nose stereotypes.
I am the foreigner.
The foreigner.
My customs are different to yours.
Oh, everyone hates the foreigner.
Look at my strange passport.
Some of these guys,
passport.
Some of the guys will make sense to you because you're a little bit older than me. So Billionaire Bot is Ted DiBiase, the $1 million man. The foreigners guys like the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov.
The Iron Sheik,
The Clear Cutter is Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Destructor. What I love about Destructor as well.
Who's like that smoking machine?
The chain smoker.
Chainsmoker's not really anyone. You could say it's someone like the Sandman, but the Sandman was always a face. He was a good guy. But it just kind of, they all play on these stereotypes of what makes a bad guy. So
a lumberjack, clearly.
Lumberjack with chainsaw, the rich, the foreigner, who is just different from you. They talked about, you'll be, and then when Bender gets changed to be the gender bender, they say, you'll be the most hated wrestler since Sergeant Feces Creator or whatever it was.
Processor.
Feces Processor, which was Sergeant Slaughter, which was a character that ended up becoming a heel because he was an Iraqi sympathizer.
Right, okay.
Anti-American sentiments was a massive thing because they just had to pit guys to go against Hulk Hogan back in the 80s. And Hulk Hogan as well as that clear cookie cutter kind of squeaky clean good guy. And Bender plays on that as well as I'm just an ex-con trying to go straight and get my kids back.
Just so
tick
facey.
every box.
Basically.
So it's really clever, and then you get someone like Destructor, who's the new big, massive flavor of the month. But it's that idea of Vince McMahon, who's the owner of WWE, he loves his big, muscly guys, and they're the big stars, and it kind of plays on that a bit, because that's still prevalent today.
I have to say, I really love the Destructor's introduction,
yes.
where they buzz him in, they like send him in, and he just comes straight through the wall.
But I feel like, wait, does that mean like
stop calling me.
Fnarg is downstairs with a camera in that room, and he's like, okay, now, so Fnarg is going at you, he's screaming.
Fnarg forgot to take 2 steps to the right. He was meant to go through the door.
And he's like, it'll do. Fuck.
That's the other subplot. How do we reckon that? The subplot with Leela and the Orphanarian with Master Fnarg. So when she was back in the Orphanarian, she did karate, or their version of some sort of kung fu, and she was basically held back because she is a woman.
Yeah.
And she does not have the will of the warrior.
Will of a housewife.
So it plays on that. I mean, does it work?
It's all right. And I guess it like helps Bender somewhat in the end, even though he loses. But
I do like the fun.
You probably could have gone without it.
I do like the fun that it brings up things like Karate Kid and Three Ninjas and that kind of the old trope of taught by Master turns to the dark side, then have to face off against Master eventually. That's kind of a nice little throwback.
But for sure. But I do feel like the little Asian man stereotype makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah. He's like a little misogynist Asian man who happens to look like a fly, but he's clearly a little Chinese or Japanese guy, and it just like
I mean, it's 90s to a T. That's just
and I feel
stereotypes are funny. The foreigner.
I mean, if he couldn't drive or something, it would be like
oh my
really
god
on the nose.
But they probably could have just scrapped that and probably done more Rocky parody.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something they could do other with Leela to give her motivation to train Bender. I mean, that isn't even that important anyway, because most of the fights are staged anyway, and it's only when he decides to win that she decides to train him. But that's the point where they drop. They don't actually show the training from there on out. It's earlier that they show.
I think
it.
I would have liked better instead of Leela, just have like, I don't know, maybe like even Farnsworth. Like,
that would have been great.
Or like even like he's a rocking machine. Have Zoidberg, make Zoidberg this fighting champion, and he's like, he's a rocking machine, and like just do the same line in Zoidberg's voice.
Yeah,
I think that could have been worked. It could have worked pretty well.
Well, they had an hour's worth of footage on the cutting room floor that was going to be the rest of the Planet Express crew coming up with a scheme to help Bender in the final battle.
Right,
that was their idea of utilizing the other cast members. They'll try and scheme together and make this elaborate plot.
Because Fry doesn't do like anything, Bender. Does he? He just kind of sits back and
Fry ends up getting a brain slug on his head, and does it ever get taken off?
No, yes, it does. It starves to death.
Yeah,
that's right. It does too. That's right. Yeah. The brainwaves weren't effective in that one. He was just too dumb. Hermes still has it on though, doesn't he?
I believe we end the episode with it. Or does it get whacked off? No, because it gets put back on.
And put back on.
I don't think they end the episode with it taken off.
I loved the dodgy animation of flattened Bender on the floor.
Yeah.
It looks so bad.
Yes.
I was watching it and I'm like, how does this work? His eyes are glass, but whatever. It's cool.
And it's so funny that it's contrasted with the like 3D rendered Raging Bull homage.
Yeah, that is done very well.
But it's very cool.
It's like his teeth are
slow motion,
out.
his face. Yeah.
I miss their 3D rendering sometimes. Sometimes we get episodes without any 3D in there. I just like that stylistic choice.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
It feels like an evolution of all the work they've... But like, evolution of everything they did on The Simpsons. It's got that same kind of style, and they just kind of... It's sci-fi, so they run with it a bit further.
I say like, but because they're parodying like Raging Bull, like with the title and with that scene, and like they're parodying like how WWE or WWF...
Back then WWF,
what it was. It's like, you figured, why don't they should probably just lean heavy into all film fighting movies.
Yeah.
Surely, like, even do Karate Kid more so rather than
do more Rocky.
Like, really lean heavy into it.
That's the thing. And we've said this in the past, when Futurama parodies a thing completely, whether it's Titanic or...
Because this is the director of basically Willy Wonka. Not Willy Wonka, but the Willy Wonka parodied episode.
Yeah, and because that's just a streamline that just focuses on that one thing, because that's why... the Titanic episode doesn't work, because they then trying to shoehorn in all these other plots. I'm sorry, I did. When they try and shoehorn other subplots in, it doesn't work as effectively.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just make it a complete, utterly immersed parody, it works. Homage parody, that's why Slurm Factory works. It's why this episode could work a lot better than it does.
Yeah, there's just a lot of cultural touchstones in the kind of boxing movie kind of idea that I kind of glossed over here that feel like are missed opportunities. Having Bender beaten up at the end of the fight, go, Leela, or something,
something like that. Like his voice box is broken.
Yeah,
and he could be yelling
yes,
out. Like,
yes. Or like, right, they have a montage, but they don't do like a Rocky up the steps,
like
or on the
Rocky up the
beach.
stairs. Like, surely they could do like a futuristic Rocky up the stairs.
Yeah, there feels like there's a joke there, right?
Like he goes to go up the stairs, and then it's instead of him walking up the stairs, he just presses the button and it escalates him up to the stairs.
And he's like,
Or just escalates, like shoots out his arms, go Gadget styles, to reach to the top step and just pull him up. Just something that
and then visual gag
isn't quite working as hard as it seems like he's working. Like he's cheating through the training montage.
He's cheating every bit of training that he's being taught.
Like he's running through the water at the beach, and he has like a propeller or
underneath
something.
when you look at it.
Make Zoidberg that Rocky mentor type, where because the guy's already old, like surly, and like that's kind of like Zoidberg could play into that really well.
Yeah, and Zoidberg would have that great thing of like he's very confident in his advice, even though it's always awful. we could have gone somewhere with that.
That'd have been a great episode.
Eat 30 fish, it's good for you.
Zoidberg had his little topsy-turvy Planet of the Clams.
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
We have a lot of great... So we got...
Galaxy Wars and...
Quizborg?
Yeah, Quizborg.
Shaft on Africon 9 instead of Shaft in Africa. Shaft in Africa, Africon 9, sorry.
There's a running little gag about Shimzars.
Well, no, here's the thing that's weird is it was Smizmar. And Smizmar changes over time because they use this to denote a gender. Ladies and gentlemen and Smizmar. Yet they kind of retcon that later because Smizmar is the name of Amphibiuson's mates. So Kif's mate. Because when Kif is pregnant, he says, I need my Smizmar with me. Which is what Amy is. Amy is Kif's Smizmar. So they kind of retrofit that.
Yeah, because there's a movie title as well when they go to the cinema. It's like, what if I fell in love with a Smizmar or something?
Yeah. And so it's weird they just kind of changed that over time. I guess they just still liked the word and they wanted to...
It's a good word.
Smizmar. Oh, also we get... So a few things. We get a weird... Did you notice that Tom Kenny was a voice actor? So SpongeBob.
What? SpongeBob is in there.
Yeah.
That's who?
He plays Abner, Double Deal, and the Masked Unit.
Oh.
There you go.
And he also played the computer judge back in Fear on a Bot Planet.
Oh, really?
So he comes back quite a few times. Voice actors.
They do everything.
We've also... There was a couple of other cutting room floor scenes that were on here. So one original concept was Bender was going to win the fight with Destructor. The way he was going to do it was going to crawl inside Destructor.
Oh, really?
So Destructor was going to be a lot bigger. He's going to get inside his chest, find a janitor, and the janitor shows him where the power switch is, and he just turns him off.
They had a lot of ideas for this episode.
I know, but it was like the pilot. The pilot had about 2 hours worth of material.
Like just written, or did they animate any of it?
Written.
Yeah.
And just a lot of stuff doesn't end up getting used, really. So they'll write a lot and just say, this joke doesn't work, this one doesn't work, this is shit.
There's a little insight to budding writers out there. Write fuck tons and then just throw half of it away and you end up with something good.
Mum was going to be in this episode. Mum was going to be in the crowd and was going to yell. So he's going to, in the Destructor gender bender fight, and she was going to be vouching for Destructor, yelling at Destructor, make that bitch your bitch, you bastard.
little blue for Futurama maybe, but...
Well, that's the thing. They didn't keep it in because censors.
Yes.
Hey, no, like Destructor could have been like Mom's friendly robot fighting bot.
Yeah,
like surely
she has a pretty clear link to any kind of anything robot based.
She diversifies. She's in everything.
Also, Bender's 525 pounds.
Right? Yeah, I missed that. Yeah,
he's so heavy. How does everyone carry him around all the time? Leela in particular.
Oh, like lift up his arms. Like each arm must weigh quite a lot.
Leela has picked up Bender in the past.
Is it him or is it what's in his chest piece?
Look, but that's...
Which is infinite, right? There's anything in there.
What was it this episode? It was a
jack.
Yeah,
A
jack.
Which gets crushed.
And there was that baby in there from previous episode?
Not in this one.
No, but from previous episode, if that baby is still in there, it's dead. No. That baby is dead.
Okay, dead babies. Bringing this episode up. I like the zits.
Robot
just
zits.
Caught my book closing. The robot zits. Yeah, I love those little design elements about the robots that they mimic humans in a lot of ways. Yeah. So he has the guy serving them popcorn has light up zits on his face.
Yeah.
Just the animators having a shit ton of fun.
Yeah.
Or like, I like Bender gets an axe in his back. Like, stop scratching your axe hole.
Also beating the sensors once again.
Yeah, I know. Very smart, working your way around it. I like that. And what's it? There was like the rating system where it was like M14 ratings, like people who are from an M14 planet.
That's right.
Like have to leave, and they're like,
allowed.
people get up and leave, and I'm like, that's a good gag. But there's lots of good little gags in this.
I like the cutaway gag of Destructor's introduced and Bender reconsiders his position and goes, the phone call is good. And stop calling me. But he goes, see you at the fight! And then it cuts to him saying, and then I said, see you at the fight! In the same
Masterfully
voice.
matched to be after the commercial as well, so you almost forget about it.
Yeah.
No, but I do love that phone call though. It's like, stop.
I
calling
love the
me.
Mystery Science Theater, the Mystery 3000 nod.
Oh, yeah, it's
Mystery,
very-
fuck it, what is it? Mystery Science...
Mystery Science
Theater
Yeah,
3000.
yeah. They're bringing that back.
MSK3.
Really? Yeah, that's good. There's some gags that don't land, obviously, in this episode. Farnsworth down in front.
Yeah.
It just felt a bit forced. You have Farnsworth down the front of a cinema. No one's in front of him. Down in front! And then after the master unit goes down, he goes, oh, they don't make movies like this anymore. It's not Patrick Stewart. I don't know why I did Patrick Stewart.
Yes. But I don't really
They
get...
don't make movies like this anymore, Engage.
I don't really get that kind of gag. Like, is it just that he's not paying attention?
It's just,
Yeah.
haha, he's old, he can't see. There was a bit of a swerve, and people were like, yay. Oh, yeah, they don't make movies like this
It feels
anymore.
like The Simpsons did a similar gag. What's it like when like they all go to the cinema and they play that like THX, the sound's going crazy. A guy's head explode and Abe's like, turn it up.
Yeah.
It's like that's the better version of that gag.
It just seems too cheap and easy.
Yeah.
A joke for them to make. It's just like, haha, he's funny, but you're more clever than that. Is that a word?
More cleverer.
Cleverer?
Intelligent is a good word, yeah.
There we go. I just need a synonym.
I wouldn't apply it to
page.
you, but it's a good word.
I just said I need a synonym book.
A synonym.
I said a synonym page. It's called a thesaurus.
Yes.
Where's my synonym page?
I just need
Where's that word that has the other words next to the word?
It's called a cinnamon. A cinnamon.
A
roll.
cinnamon.
A cinnamon. A cinnamon.
roll.
How do we like them playing on? I mean, it's true that that I should probably make my point before I talk about
How do we
how
like
I
that
feel
thing?
about it.
Because it's true.
It's true,
guys.
This
your thoughts?
idea that anything that is slightly confronting, gender or sexuality wise, the public hates.
Well, this is the thing. That's why I brought up why I like this episode from a parody of pro wrestling standpoint. Because up until 10 years ago, that was a thing.
Well, I feel like wrestling is a mostly conservative audience.
Yeah, I feel like you might be onto something there.
Here's the thing. Wrestling, it goes through phases because in the 90s you had what was called the Attitude Era, which was everything is sex and violence and pushing the senses and gratuitous. And you've got Austin 316.
It was very metal.
Yeah.
And...
the 80s before that, though, was very much Hulk Hogan, drink your milk and eat your vitamins and say your prayers and do all this. And
wholesome family stuff.
now it's reverted back to a more PG-friendly audience. It is mostly, wrestling has, until recently, been a very right-wing, Republican, conservative sort of...
I don't know, Sean is really, really right-wing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he loves wrestling.
Superman. I am as right can write.
Yeah.
You're so right, you're left.
He's wearing. He's actually wearing a "Make America Great Again" cap right now.
I hope not.
Those are my Trump.
hands.
I did Trump hands on a podcast. It just doesn't translate. But like treatment of women. Women were more just models up until a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
We have more. There are more left wing wrestlers now. More.
I don't think there's any transgender wrestlers though.
No. Well, at least not on a mainstream.
Are there any
platform.
gay wrestlers?
Yeah,
currently in
definitely.
WWE?
There's one in WWE right now. His name's Darren Young. He's openly gay.
Okay.
And it's not a thing. It's just
It just is a part of him. It's not utilized in storylines or anything like that.
He's the gay man. He's gonna do some wrestling move. Like what's that?
Yeah.
What's that wrestling move? Who put his ass in people's faces?
Oh, that was Rikishi.
Yeah,
The stink face.
Stink face.
400-pound wrestler that would rub his ass into your face as a form of humiliation.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty humiliating.
They were the good old days.
Yeah, I mean it's good that that they have this guy on guy wrestling thing. They don't have like a gay panic thing. About it. I mean, we're setting the bar pretty low there.
I know.
Goldust. Goldust was a character that is actually still around today, but his whole character was he's dressed in skin-tight gold and black, wears platinum blonde wigs, makeup,
Does he come
bites at people like he would just... and would like rub himself all over, would rub them, like very much leaning into the gay panic. Sort of. And he's very much a heterosexual man, but he realized he could be a heel by playing off of
the kind of baser,
the fear of others.
Yeah.
That's just morphed now into him just being an eccentric, weird character, less on playing on homophobia. Yeah, I think Futurama plays it well here. I just like that they're taking this idea of people are scared when you threaten their sexuality.
Or with anything that's not like them.
Yeah.
Damn foreigners.
Yeah, it has to be...
Confuse your sexuality.
Bender's outfit changed to him eventually wearing an Earthican flag as a cape. Like, he can't be more patriotic.
Stuffing it in someone's craw.
Yeah. Okay, well, how do we reckon this stacks up against what the hell are we on?
Well, I'm pretty sure, like, it was the...
what was...
head on my shoulders.
Put your head on my shoulders?
Yeah.
I think that one. We're going to go with it winning.
We think we did.
I believe I was the sole defender of
Crustacean
and Love.
All right, let's hope that's right.
Let's hope that's right. If not...
We're sorry.
We're sorry about that.
All right, what do you reckon? Who wants to go first?
It doesn't win. I'm sorry, it doesn't win. Like,
as in, so put your head on my shoulders stays?
Yeah, it still stays, yeah.
It's too flawed to beat that out, and there's too many missed opportunities.
I'm not saying it's good gags, but it's like they should have really leaned hard in like to those like boxing movies and like to the parodies of like what you can do with that. I mean, I'd probably like I really wanted Zoidberg to train Bender because it would have been like such a strange combination because you were getting like Fry and Amy and like Fry and Zoidberg, like Bender and Zoidberg.
It's a great combo. You should have them more often.
It's a combination I always wanted. It's to have. I'm really looking forward to seeing if in future episodes they have Bender Zoidberg pairings.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Yeah, look, I'm the same. Raging Bender doesn't really cut it. I like their treatment of the parody. Yeah. I like The Foreigner. I love just look at my crazy passport. But no, it just as an episode as a whole, it just doesn't quite hit all the same notes.
I think what this raises for me is this Futurama is really, really strong when it's using its sci-fi setting to really hit those parodies.
Yeah.
It's really good when it takes a pop culture moment or thing and twists it using the future setting. I think that's good. And then here, you think they're really going to do that, and then it's only one or two moments where they actually do that, and it just feels really a bit of a letdown, perhaps.
Yeah.
Like, surely we could have had, like, that ending fly kick, like he does in Karate Kid, where, like, he jumps up and, like...
The crane kick.
Yeah, like the crane kick. Surely Bender could have tried it, and literally his leg comes up, like, his, like, leg hyperextends.
Like, go gadget.
Yeah, like, go gadget. Like, he's done it before. Like, he could just do that.
Interesting point, that kick in Karate Kid, totally illegal. It's in the face. Yeah, you should get disqualified. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but in robot wrestling.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine.
Hey, that kid was swiping the leg, man.
Clear Cutter has a chainsaw. Man, I got a lot of spit on my catcher. My catcher.
There are no rules.
Where's my synonym page?
One row
cinnamon
enters.
roll.
Okay. Well, the last thing we have is imitation.
Oh, imitation.
Destructor.
Oh, yeah, we have to do Destructor. Good.
Oh, who goes first?
All right. I'll go first then. I am Destructor! All
right, that's pretty good.
Peak.
I will crush you! And stop calling me.
I am Destructor!
I just saw
so
Tom's
bad.
hand on the...
You didn't commit.
Are you
No,
like,
I
worried
can't
about
do
the
the voice.
game?
Like, it's...
No.
I don't know how to do, like... I can't reach that voice.
You just got to commit, man. You just
just
got to
go
go
for
for
it.
I can go... "Ah!"
We can keep that. Yeah, that's good.
But I can't do the first bit.
We'll cut it in.
The will of the warrior.
Yeah. God damn it, it's getting hot.
I'm dying.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be us for this week. Look, if you... We're on everything now. We're on absolutely everything. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter. We're not on Snapchat.
We're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube.
Podcasts aren't, but
they will be. They will be.
Yeah, we'll be soon.
Do you want to quickly plug, James, your videos?
Yeah, look, I do like videos, like video essays and reviews. I've done 2 so far. So one's on...
Do you want to plug your videos? I do videos.
Yeah.
You can watch them.
Yeah.
They're about stuff.
It's a visual medium. Like one's on Inglourious Bastards and the other one is on The Final Girls. If you like those couple of kind of films.
Yeah, just find them on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. Baby Bin Media. It looks kind of nice.
On our podcast, you can now find them not just on SoundCloud. You can get them on Stitcher, Whooshka. That's it for the time being.
Bloober. Clandor.
It does slightly feel like that, and startups just have the most bizarre names now.
Yeah.
Burstpedia.
We're on it. We're on all good podcasting services.
Yeah, wherever good podcasts are sold.
And also, because I've got him here, because of everything he's been doing, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
Tell us about Event Technologies.
Event technology, knowledge.
I do event technologies.
That's good. Yeah. Look, for anyone that's in the Adelaide area, or if you are beyond the Adelaide area, for all of your
for a nominal fee,
I'm having a stroke. I'm slurring.
That area.
Video production work. They need any tech. If they need screens, all their
sound
tech
gear,
production needs.
Yeah,
sound gear. Tom's your man.
Massage. No.
Yeah.
He's nodding.
Yeah,
That's what we provide.
Oh right, yeah.
Am I plugging your shit right?
You have sufficiently plugged the shit out of that.
Oh god, okay.
Can we leave this room, please?
Oh yeah. Well, next week we have a bicyclops built for two.
Bicyclops
that's
built
lovely.
for two.
And until then,
Daisy.
I have been Sean.
And I've been James.
I've been what?
I'm melting.
And I've been Phil.
Fucking bye.
Yeah.
Sweaty man.
If you think you know what I'm eating, email babybeardmedia@gmail.com and tell us.
Or just send us a tweet. Yeah.
Or we could do ones where we literally take a mic to a restaurant and they get the general ambience and like our dinner conversation and and they have to try and guess what we ordered. Yeah,
genius.
It's a palmy. I think he's eating a palmy.
In the polls, Chris especially ramps up because it's political.
Yeah,
so he just and that brings us all up as well.
Yes,
he had a political boner.
A boner.
Does that make it to air? Oh, I always make it sound so much more glamorous than it is.
Yeah. We need a little light.
Today in the studio. Yes. Studio.
It's a room in which we are recording that makes it a studio.